First contact deception. The Galactic Confederation vessel Eternal Dawn emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Sol system, its crystalline hull refracting the distant sunlight into prismatic patterns. High Commander Vextal stood at the bridge, their compound eyes analyzing the peculiar readings from the third planet. After centuries of exploring the cosmos and integrating new species into the Confederation, something about this mission felt different. Analysis complete, Commander, Chief Scientist Zira announced, her bioluminescent patches pulsing with excitement. The species calls themselves humans. Primitive fossil fuel usage detected, along with rudimentary space exploration capabilities. Technological development appears to be at Category 2, pre-FTL stage. Vextal's antennae twitched. Something wasn't adding up. The electromagnetic signatures from Earth showed clear signs of inefficient energy usage and atmospheric pollution. Yet the orbital defense grid they detected was suspiciously well positioned. If these humans were truly primitive, they shouldn't have been able to detect the Eternal Dawn's approach, let alone track it with such precision. Incoming transmission. Communications Officer Krull reported, surprise evident in their harmonic voice. They're broadcasting in perfect standard galactic, Commander. Before Vextal could process this impossibility, a holographic projection materialized on the bridge. A human female appeared, wearing what appeared to be simple cloth garments. Greetings, High Commander Vextal. I am Director Sarah Chen of the Earth Diplomatic Corps. We've been expecting you. The bridge crew froze. No one had transmitted their commander's name or rank. You seem surprised, Director Chen continued, a slight smile playing at her lips. Please, follow our guidance coordinates to our primary diplomatic facility in the region your databases refer to as North America. We've prepared appropriate atmospheric conditions for your species. Vextal's secondary heart began beating rapidly. How do you know the atmospheric requirements of my species? They demanded. An educated guess, Chen replied smoothly. Will 3 standard hours be sufficient for your crew to prepare for landfall? As the transmission ended, Vextal turned to their second-in-command. Run every scan we have on their facility. Something is very wrong here. The diplomatic facility turned out to be a simple structure of concrete and steel, surrounded by primitive ground vehicles. As the Confederation delegation descended from their ship, they were met by Director Chen and 2 other humans, all unarmed and wearing the same simple clothing. Welcome to Earth, Chen said, extending her hand in what their databases identified as a human greeting gesture. I believe you have questions. Inside the facility, Vextal's personal sensors detected energy signatures that shouldn't exist in a pre-FTL civilization. The walls appeared to be simple plascrete, yet they somehow blocked all external scans. The chairs they were offered, while appearing to be basic metal and fabric, automatically adjusted to perfectly accommodate Confederation physiology. Your technology, Vextal began, mandibles clicking in agitation. It doesn't match your development level. Your entire civilization appears deliberately orchestrated to appear primitive. Why? Chen shared a look with her colleagues before responding. Tell me, Commander, in your centuries of exploration, have you ever wondered why you find so many ruins but so few elder species? Why civilizations seem to follow similar development patterns? Why some technological achievements seem to appear simultaneously across different worlds? Of course, Vextal replied. The great pattern. All species develop along predictable technological lines. It's one of the fundamental principles of xenosociology. And if I told you that pattern was designed? One of Chen's colleagues, who had introduced himself as Dr. Marcus Rodriguez, leaned forward. That someone had spent millions of years subtly guiding younger species away from paths that lead to extinction. Before Vextal could respond, alarms blared through the facility. A massive holographic display materialized in the center of the room, showing a Confederation colony world under attack by the notorious Swarm, a hostile species that had recently emerged from unknown space. The Swarm has breached the defenses at New Hope Colony, Chen stated, her casual demeanor suddenly replaced by something ancient and deadly serious. 3 million Confederation citizens are about to die. She turned to Vextal, her eyes holding weight of eons. Unless you're ready to see what humanity really is. Vextal's world tilted as the simple concrete walls around them dissolve, revealing a vast chamber filled with technology that made the Confederation's most advanced achievements look like children's toys. Machines that bent reality itself hummed with power, and displays showed real-time views of thousands of worlds. "We are not a primitive species awaiting first contact," Commander Chen said, her voice carrying the weight of millions of years. "We are the ones who wrote the pattern. And now, it's time for you to understand why we've hidden for so long." As Chen spoke these words, Vextal watched in awe as ancient human warships, hidden in dimensional pockets around New Hope Colony, emerged into normal space. The future of galactic civilization was about to change forever, and Vextal had a front-row seat to the revelation that would shake the foundations of everything they thought they knew about the cosmos. The awakening. The ancient human warships materialized like ghosts from between the folds of space-time, their hulls shimmering with technologies that defied conventional physics. High Commander Vextal watched through the facility's quantum display as these vessels, each larger than a small moon, took up defensive positions around New Hope Colony. "What you're seeing," Dr. Rodriguez explained, his fingers dancing across what appeared to be an ordinary glass tablet, but somehow controlled these impossibly advanced ships, "is the Guardian Fleet, ships we built when your species was still learning to make fire." The swarm vessels, previously so terrifying in their biological-mechanical hybrid construction, now seemed primitive in comparison. The human ships didn't so much fight as they rewrote the laws of reality around them. Space itself seemed to bend and twist, creating corridors of altered physics that the swarm ships couldn't navigate. "Why?" Vextal managed to ask, their compound eyes struggling to process the scale of what they were witnessing. "Why hide all of this? Why pretend to be primitive?" Director Chen's eyes never left the tactical display. "Because power corrupts, Commander. We learned that lesson the hard way, millions of years ago, when we nearly destroyed ourselves and took half the galaxy with us." The third human, who had introduced himself as Admiral James Chen, spoke for the first time. "Humanity reached the stars long before any other current species existed. We built empires that spanned galaxies, wielded powers that could reshape reality itself. And then we discovered something that almost ended everything. The Void Cascade," Director Chen continued, her voice heavy with ancient memory. "A weapon that could unravel the fabric of space-time itself. We weren't the first to discover it, but we were the first to survive its use. Barely." On the display, the swarm fleet was being systematically dismantled, their ships caught in bubbles of altered space-time, where the laws of physics themselves became their enemies. Not a single shot had been fired, yet the most feared armada in known space was being defeated with terrifying elegance. "After the cascade," Dr. Rodriguez explained, "we understood that technological advancement without wisdom leads to extinction. So we made a choice. We would guide younger species, help them avoid our mistakes, teach them the value of restraint alongside progress." Vextal's antennae twitched as they processed this information. "The Great Pattern is a teaching tool," Admiral Chen confirmed. "A carefully designed path of technological development that encourages species to develop wisdom alongside their capabilities. Every primitive technology you see us using on Earth serves as a reminder, a lesson in humility." The tactical display shifted, showing thousands of hidden human outposts throughout the galaxy, each disguised as natural phenomena or ancient ruins. Vextal realized with growing shock that humans had been everywhere, watching, guiding, protecting. "The swarm isn't a natural evolution," Director Chen revealed, her expression grim. "They're the result of a young species discovering advanced technology too quickly, without the wisdom to use it properly. We've been containing them, trying to help them learn before they destroy themselves and others." A new alert flashed across the display. The swarm fleet, realizing their defeat was inevitable, had activated some kind of doomsday weapon. The energy readings were off the charts, threatening to tear a hole in reality itself. "Not again," Director Chen whispered, her eyes suddenly ancient with remembered horror. "Commander Vextal, what you're about to witness is why we hide our true nature. Why we teach restraint before power." The human ships moved with synchronized precision, forming a complex geometric pattern around the swarm fleet. Reality itself seemed to hold its breath as energies beyond Vextal's comprehension began to flow between the vessels. "This is a fundamental truth we learned eons ago," Admiral Chen said softly. "The greatest power isn't in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to know when not to. Watch carefully, Commander. What you're about to see is why humanity chose to become teachers rather than conquerors." As the swarm's weapon began to detonate, threatening to rip a hole in the universe itself, the human fleet did something that would forever change Vextal's understanding of what was possible. They didn't fight the explosion. They embraced it, channeled it, transformed it. The destructive energy was woven into a complex pattern of space-time, creating something entirely new. Where moments ago there had been a fleet of hostile ships preparing to unleash devastation, there now floated a small artificial star, its energy contained and transformed into something that would provide light and life to New Hope Colony for millennia to come. "This," Director Chen said into the stunned silence, "is why we hide, Commander. Because true power isn't about destruction or dominance. It's about transformation, about turning darkness into light. And that's a lesson every species must learn for themselves." Ancient archives. In the days following the swarm incident, High Commander Vextal found themselves in a vast underground complex beneath Earth's surface. The facility, hidden beneath what humans called the Atacama Desert, stretched for kilometers in every direction. Here, humanity kept their true archives, records of their million-year journey among the stars. "Every artifact in this chamber tells a story," Dr. Rodriguez explained as they walked past displays containing technologies that shouldn't exist. "Not just of what we achieved, but of what we learned from our failures." They stopped before a floating hologram of an ancient city that spanned an entire planet. The architecture was both familiar and alien. Vextal recognized elements that had influenced countless civilizations, including their own. "Nexus Prime," Director Chen said, noting Vextal's interest. "Our first attempt at a galactic capital, built 5 million years ago. We thought we could rule the galaxy openly then, guide younger species directly." She paused, her expression distant. "We were wrong." The hologram shifted, showing the city's destruction, not by war or violence, but by its own weight. The civilization had collapsed under the burden of its own complexity, its people losing touch with the very species they sought to guide. "That's when we learned our first great lesson," Admiral Chen added. "True guidance cannot come from above. It must come from within, through shared experience and understanding." They moved deeper into the archive, past sections that documented humanity's interaction with countless civilizations. Vextal recognized many of the species. Some still existed, others were known only through ruins and legends. "The Axiom Archives," Dr. Rodriguez announced as they entered a vast circular chamber. "Every mistake we've ever made, every civilization we failed to save, every technology that proved too dangerous, all documented here as lessons for future generations." The walls were covered in flowing script, not in any known language, but in pure mathematical equations that describe the fundamental nature of reality itself. Vextal's translator implant struggled to process the complexity of the information. "What you're seeing," Director Chen explained, "is the language of creation itself. We learned it through millions of years of study, trial, and devastating error. But more importantly, we learned when not to use it." A holographic display activated, showing thousands of worlds across multiple galaxies. On each, subtle signs of human influence became apparent, ancient ruins that had guided technological development, seemingly natural formations that were actually carefully designed teaching tools. Your own homeworld, Admiral Chen said softly, highlighting a familiar planet. We were there when your ancestors first looked up at the stars. Not as rulers or gods, but as unseen guardians, making sure you had the chance to grow, to learn, to become who you were meant to be. Vextal's antennae quivered with emotion. The crystal caves of Xenfor, our most sacred scientific site. A teaching tool, Dr. Rodriguez confirmed, designed to help your species understand crystalline computing at exactly the right moment in your development. But the discoveries, the understanding, that was all your own achievement. They reached a section of the archive that seemed newer, more active. Here, real-time displays showed thousands of developing civilizations across the galaxy, each at different stages of advancement. This is why we maintain the charade of being a primitive species, Director Chen explained. Every day, we face choices that could reshape the destiny of countless civilizations. The power to elevate them instantly to our level, to solve all their problems, to end their struggles. She shook her head. And every day, we choose not to. Because they need to learn on their own, Vextal realized, finally understanding. Exactly, Admiral Chen nodded. But we're always there, hidden in plain sight, ready to prevent true catastrophe while allowing the natural challenges that forge stronger, wiser civilizations. A new alert appeared on the displays. More swarm activity, but this time near a civilization that hadn't even achieved spaceflight yet. Which brings us to why we're showing you all this, Director Chen said, her expression serious. The galaxy is changing, Commander. The old ways of hidden guidance may no longer be enough. We need allies who understand the true burden of power, and your civilization has shown that wisdom. Vextal watched as human ships quietly moved into position around the threatened world, invisible to its inhabitants but ready to defend them if needed. In that moment, they understood the true weight of what humanity had been carrying all these years, the constant vigilance, the endless restraint, the lonely burden of power. We're not looking for servants or subjects, Dr. Rodriguez clarified. We're looking for partners who understand that the greatest power lies not in the ability to reshape reality, but in the wisdom to know when to let others shape their own destiny. The Guardian's burden. The emergency alert came during what was supposed to be a routine briefing. High Commander Vextal had spent the past week learning about humanity's hidden network of protection across the galaxy, but nothing had prepared them for this. Multiple void cascade signatures detected, Admiral Chen announced, his usual calm demeanor cracking slightly. The holographic display showed dozens of tiers appearing in spacetime across the galaxy. The swarm didn't just have one prototype weapon. They had seeded them throughout their territory. Director Chen's face went ash-white. They're using our own ancient mistake against us, attempting to recreate the very weapon that almost destroyed us millions of years ago. The tactical display showed the growing catastrophe. Each tier in reality was expanding, threatening to swallow entire star systems. The Confederation's most advanced sensors could barely comprehend what they were seeing, but the human monitoring systems showed the true horror of the situation. If these tiers continue to grow, Dr. Rodriguez explained, manipulating complex equations in the air with practiced ease, they'll begin to merge. Once that happens, the cascade will become self-sustaining. We're looking at the potential collapse of this entire arm of the galaxy. Vextal watched as hidden human outposts across the galaxy activated, ancient machinery humming to life. Yet even with all their advanced technology, the humans seemed concerned. Can't you stop it like you did at New Hope Colony? That was one weapon, contained before full activation. Admiral Chen replied, coordinating with other human facilities across the stars. This is dozens, all designed to work in concert. The swarm didn't just find our old weapon designs, they improved upon them. In the display, the first tiers began to merge, creating a devastation that distorted the very fabric of space-time. Entire star systems were being pulled apart at the quantum level. We have a solution, Director Chen said quietly, her words heavy with implications. But it would require revealing ourselves to the entire galaxy. Everything we've worked for, all the careful guidance and hidden protection, it would end today. Dr. Rodriguez pulled up another display, showing thousands of developing civilizations. If we reveal ourselves now, it will fundamentally alter the development of hundreds of species. Some aren't ready for the truth. The shock could devastate their societies, halt their natural development. But if we don't, Admiral Chen added, there won't be any civilizations left to develop. Vextal watched as the humans struggled with their decision, seeing for the first time the true weight they carried. Every choice they made affected billions of lives across thousands of worlds. The burden of such knowledge, such responsibility, was almost unimaginable. There's something else you need to see, Director Chen said, leading them to a secure chamber deep within the facility. Inside was a single holographic display showing a distant galaxy. This is why we've been preparing for the possibility of revealing ourselves. The image zoomed in, showing something that made Vextal's exoskeleton shiver. At the edges of known space, vast shapes moved between the stars, things that defied normal physics, entities that shouldn't exist in normal spacetime. We call them the precursors, Admiral Chen explained. They're the reason we retreated into hiding millions of years ago. We weren't ready to face them then, but they're returning, and this time, the galaxy needs to be united and prepared. Dr. Rodriguez manipulated the controls, showing projection models. The void cascade weapons the swarm created. They're like a dinner bell to these entities. Each tear in spacetime is a beacon, drawing them closer. So we have no choice, Director Chen concluded. We must reveal ourselves, not just to stop the immediate crisis, but to begin preparing the galaxy for what's coming. The question is, Commander Vextal, will the Confederation stand with us? Vextal watched as more tiers in reality began to form, as ancient human ships moved into position around threatened worlds, as countless civilizations went about their daily lives, unaware that their fate hung in the balance. They thought about everything they had learned about humanity, their power, their restraint, their dedication to protecting younger species, even at the cost of their own advancement. The real question, Vextal replied, is how could we not? You've guided us all this time, helped us grow, protected us from the shadows. Perhaps now it's time for us to help carry that burden. Director Chen nodded solemnly. Then let's begin. It's time for humanity to step into the light, not as conquerors or gods, but as what we've always been, guardians, teachers, and now, hopefully, partners. Around them, the facility hummed with power as humanity prepared to reveal their true nature to the galaxy. The age of hiding was about to end, and a new chapter in galactic history was about to begin. One where humanity's ancient wisdom would need to guide not just from the shadows, but in the full light of day. Legacy of the Stars. 1 year after humanity's revelation to the galaxy, High Commander Vextal stood on the observation deck of Nexus Station, watching ships from 100 different species dock at what had become the new center of galactic civilization. The station, built using a perfect blend of human elder technology and contributions from younger races, symbolized everything humanity had hoped to achieve. Still hard to believe sometimes, isn't it? Director Chen asked, joining them at the window. The station's unique crystalline architecture, inspired by Vextal's own people's designs, caught the light of the nearby star in a spectacular display. That's an understatement, Vextal replied, their antennae twitching with amusement. A year ago, we thought humans were primitive beings just discovering spaceflight. Now we're building wonders together. The immediate crisis of the void cascade weapons had been averted through a combination of human elder technology and cooperative efforts from multiple species. But the real work had come after, helping countless civilizations cope with the knowledge that they had been guided and protected all along. How are the younger species adapting? Vextal asked, watching a ship from one of the newest spacefaring races carefully navigate into dock. Better than we feared, Worse than we hoped, Dr. Rodriguez answered, joining them with his ever-present data tablet. Some have embraced the truth, seeing it as confirmation of their own potential. Others, he trailed off. Others are angry. Admiral Chen finished, completing their familiar group. They see our guidance as interference, our protection as condescension. They're not entirely wrong. A holographic display materialized between them, showing the current state of known space. The precursors were still out there, moving ever closer, but now the galaxy was beginning to prepare. United by the truth of humanity's role in the coming threat, most species had chosen to work together. The swarm has been the biggest surprise, Director Chen noted, highlighting a sector where the once hostile species was now helping to establish early warning systems against the precursors. Once we shared our history with them, showed them how close they'd come to repeating our ancient mistakes, they became some of our strongest allies. Because you didn't destroy them when you could have, Vextal observed. Even when they were using your own ancient weapons against you, you chose to save them rather than eliminate them. That's what being a guardian means, Dr. Rodriguez explained, bringing up images of various worlds where human technology was now being openly shared. But carefully, gradually, with proper guidance. Power without compassion is just another form of destruction. A new alert caught their attention. Another tear in reality, but this one different from the void cascades. A massive ship emerged, unlike anything Vextal had seen before. Its design spoke of age beyond comprehension, of technology that made even humanity's elder science seem primitive. Right on schedule, Admiral Chen said quietly. Our old friends have finally decided to rejoin the conversation. The ship was human in origin, but from long before their retreat into hiding. A relic from the age when they had first encountered the precursors. Its return had been part of humanity's grand plan, timed to coincide with the galaxy's preparation for the coming challenge. The Eternal Voyager, Director Chen explained. We sent it out millions of years ago to study the precursors, to understand them, to find a way to communicate. Today, it returns with answers. As the ancient vessel docked with Nexus Station, Vextal understood that they were witnessing yet another turning point in galactic history. Humanity hadn't just revealed themselves to protect the galaxy. They had been preparing for this moment all along, gathering allies, fostering understanding, building towards a future where all species could face the ultimate challenge together. This is why you hid for so long, Vextal realized. Not just to guide us, but to ensure that when this moment came, we would be ready to stand with you as equals. Director Chen smiled, watching as representatives from dozens of species gathered to greet the returning vessel. The precursors aren't just a threat, Commander. They're a test, one that no single species can face alone, not even humanity. Everything we've done, Admiral Chen added, every civilization we've guided, every lesson we've taught, has been leading to this moment. The galaxy needed to be united, but not through force or fear. Through understanding, through mutual growth, through shared wisdom. Dr. Rodriguez's tablet displayed the first data streams from the Eternal Voyager. The precursors aren't coming to destroy us. They're coming to judge us, to see if this galaxy, if all of us together, have achieved the wisdom to join something greater than ourselves. Vextal watched as the ship's ancient data began to reveal the true nature of the entities they had feared for so long. The precursors weren't invaders or destroyers. They were guardians of a different sort, testing young galaxies, guiding their evolution on a scale that dwarfed even humanity's efforts. So what happens now? Vextal asked, though they suspected they already knew the answer. Director Chen's expression was both solemn and hopeful. Now we all face the next test together. Not as elder and younger races, not as teachers and students, but as what we were always meant to be, a galaxy united in its diversity, stronger for our differences, wiser for our shared journey. Around them, Nexus Station hummed with the combined energy of 100 species technologies working in harmony. Ships of all designs moved through space together, carrying representatives to what would become the most important diplomatic gathering in galactic history. The age of hiding was over. The age of true cooperation had begun. And somewhere out there, between the stars, ancient entities watched and waited, ready to welcome a united galaxy into a universe far grander and more wonderful than anyone had imagined.